The story begins on a warm afternoon in a small abandoned church where a sycamore tree grows through the roof. You rest against the trunk, your sheep scattered across the grass outside. The old book in your hands feels heavier than usual, maybe because you've read the same page too many times. The scent of dry grass fills the air, and the church is silent except for the sound of your sheep shifting outside. You close your eyes, and there it is again, the dream. You stand before the Egyptian pyramids, sunlight burning gold against stone, your hands digging into the sand. Somewhere beneath, treasure waits for you. Just as you're about to uncover it, a child appears, laughing softly, and takes your hand. Then, suddenly, the dream fades. You wake with your heart still racing, the echo of the child's laughter lingering like a song you can't forget. You try to laugh it off. A shepherd with dreams of treasure ridiculous, right? Still, you can't shake the feeling that it means something. You gather your flock, walking toward the next village, thinking more about the dream than your path. The sheep follow you easily. They trust you completely. You envy that simplicity, how they live only in the moment, never questioning, never doubting. You remember her, the merchant's daughter with the dark hair and curious eyes. You met her a year ago when you sold wool in the village. She'd asked you endless questions about your life, about the hills and stars and freedom. You think about her now, wondering if she ever thinks of you too. It's strange how memory can feel like a place you visit. By sunset, you reach a town square, the stones still warm under your feet. You lean against a wall, watching the people pass by. A gypsy woman catches your eye. She sits in a doorway draped with colored fabrics, her bracelets catching the light. You hesitate, but curiosity wins. You step closer, your voice uncertain as you ask about your dream. She studies you quietly. Then, with a small, knowing smile, she says, "Dreams are the language of God. When he speaks through them, it means he wants you to listen." She tells you to go to the pyramids, that your treasure waits there. But she wants something in return, a tenth of whatever you find. You nod, pretending to agree, though you barely believe her. Still, her words nest in your chest, warm and strange. As you leave, the street feels different, like the wind itself has started paying attention. That night, you sit by the edge of the town, your sheep dozing near. You whisper to them, as you often do, your thoughts drifting between comfort and restlessness. You tell them about the dream, about the gypsy woman, about how tired you are of repeating the same days. You love the stars, but lately they've begun to look like reminders of everything you haven't done. Then you meet him, the old man in the square, the next morning. His eyes are bright, ageless, filled with both patience and mischief. He tells you his name is Melchizedek, the king of Salem. You almost laugh, thinking he must be joking. But then he begins to speak about your sheep, your dream, and your heart things he couldn't possibly know. He says, when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. You don't know why, but the words settle into you like truth. He draws a circle in the sand, talks of omens and the world's hidden language, and offers to guide you if you give him 1/10 of your flock. It sounds absurd, yet something inside you, that quiet, restless part, says yes. That night, you sell your sheep. The coins feel strange in your hand, heavier than you expected. You think about the hills you'll leave behind, the quiet life you understood so well. For a moment, you almost change your mind. But the image of the pyramids returns, calling to you. Before you go, the old man hands you 2 stones, Urim and Thummim. Use them when you can't read the omens, he says. But learn to trust your heart first. You pocket them carefully. As you walk away, the wind rises. The town grows smaller behind you, and the road ahead stretches endlessly beneath the sun. For the first time, you feel the world expanding, as if every grain of sand, every bird above, and every pulse of your own heart are part of something vast and invisible. Still, a quiet fear hums beneath your excitement. What if this is foolish? What if the dream means nothing? You imagine returning home with nothing but dust and disappointment. But then you remember the child's laughter in the dream, the sound of the wind whispering your name. You keep walking. You stop near a well, your throat dry, your thoughts tangled. A merchant offers to take you to Africa Tangier, a city across the sea, close to the desert that hides the pyramids. You trade your coins for passage. As the boat rocks gently under the stars that night, you feel both terrified and free. The ocean wind tastes of salt and possibility. You watch the dark waves roll beneath the moon, and think of how every decision feels like stepping off a ledge, hoping the air will carry you. You still wonder if it was love or destiny that started all this, maybe both. Maybe they're the same. The morning sun rises over Tangier like a silent promise, glinting off domes and narrow alleys filled with color and noise. You step off the boat, heart thrumming, coins in your pocket, and the world feels too bright, too alive. The air smells of spice and salt, and people rush past speaking a language you don't understand. You think of the old man's words, the universe conspires, but right now, it feels like it's laughing. You stop by a cafe, watching the swirl of people. A young man approaches, smiling kindly, speaking a few words in your language. Relief floods through you. He offers to help you find a guide to the pyramids. You follow him through winding streets, grateful for the company. And when he says he'll guard your money for safekeeping while you buy food, you hand it over. You blink, and he's gone. The world tilts. The crowd keeps moving, the call to prayer echoing through the air. But you stand still, hollow, as if your heart has slipped out of your chest. The fear is sharp at first, then dull, like a bruise spreading inward. You wander the streets, searching faces, shouting his name, though you never really knew it. By nightfall, the sky burns orange and violet. You sit on a stone step, empty-handed, and watch the stars appear one by one. You feel foolish, small, and far from home. You pull the 2 stones from your pocket, Urim and Thummim, and let them rest in your palm. Maybe they're nothing but rocks. Or maybe, just maybe, they're reminders that even loss can be a message. You whisper, half to the sky, if this is what you want from me, I'll listen. The next day, hunger drives you into a crystal shop on the hill. The merchant, a quiet man with eyes that have forgotten how to dream, watches as you pick up a glass cup and wipe the dust away. It sparkles instantly, catching the morning light. He sighs. You can clean the rest if you want. You nod, and by the end of the day, the shelves gleam like ice. The merchant pays you with a few coins and tea. The tea is warm, sweet, and strange, and you think of how kindness sometimes hides behind silence. Days turn into weeks. You work quietly, arranging and polishing, learning bits of Arabic, saving coins in a small pouch. Each glass piece you clean reflects a fragment of your face, as if the universe is slowly showing you who you are. The merchant grows fond of you, though he hides it behind his grumbles. Sometimes you catch him staring out the window at the distant horizon, where the desert begins. One evening, he confesses he once dreamed of going to Mecca, but never did. You listen, gently turning a cup in your hands, watching light dance along its rim. Maybe dreams are supposed to be lived, you say softly. He smiles sadly. Or maybe they're meant to remind us who we are. That night, lying on your thin mattress in the back room, you think of home, of your sheep, of the girl who asked you about the stars. You wonder if she'd still recognize you. There's a restlessness again, the same that pulled you from the hills. You stare at the ceiling until morning, listening to the faint hum of the city below. Months pass. The shop grows busier. You suggest new ideas, displaying glass outside, serving tea to attract customers. The merchant hesitates, but it works. People come. Coins clink into the drawer. You find rhythm in your days, but your heart drifts toward the desert beyond the town, to the pyramids that call like distant music. One afternoon, you pause while polishing a crystal lamp. The sunlight bends through it, scattering tiny rainbows across the walls. You can almost feel the sand under your feet, the dry wind, the whisper of the pyramids waiting. You tell the merchant you're leaving. He doesn't look surprised. Maybe he knew long before you did. I'm proud of you, he says quietly. Even if you never find your treasure, you've already found yourself. You thank him. He presses a hand over his chest. The same hand that cleans glass can shape fate, he says. You smile, unsure if he's teasing. That night, you stand by the edge of Tangier, the desert stretching endlessly before you. The sand glows silver under the moon. You clutch the two stones again. Urim and Thummim, choice and certainty. You wonder which one you need now. The caravan to Egypt leaves at dawn. You trade your earnings for a spot among them. The camels groan softly, their movements slow and rhythmic, and as the caravan begins to move, you glance back once more at the city fading behind you. You feel no anger for what you lost there, only gratitude for what it taught you. The desert wind brushes your face like a secret. You can smell dust in distance. Someone beside you hums a tune that sounds older than time. You close your eyes, letting the rhythm of the camels sway you, and for a moment, it feels like the entire world is breathing in sync with you. You still think of the girl, though her face is blurry now. Sometimes when the sun sets, you imagine her standing in a doorway somewhere, brushing her hair aside, waiting for someone who never came. You wonder if the same wind that cools your face might reach her too. Days blend into nights. The sky above the desert feels eternal, heavy with stars. You learn to read omens the way the sand shifts, the flight of hawks, the flicker of flames in the campfire. The desert teaches you patience. It also teaches you that silence can be its own kind of love. You often touch the stones in your pocket, feeling their smoothness, remembering the king of Salem's words. Every time you feel doubt creep in, you listen to the whisper of the wind, to the heartbeat inside your chest, to the language that speaks without words. The journey has no clear end, but maybe you think the destination isn't a place at all. Maybe it's the moment you stop searching and finally understand what you've been carrying all along. As you fall asleep beside the caravan fire, the stars shimmer like old friends. The world feels vast, but for once not lonely. You rest your head on the warm sand, and before sleep pulls you under, you whisper to the sky, I'm listening. The desert stretches endlessly around you, a golden ocean frozen in silence. Days pass in rippling heat, and nights arrive soft and blue, filled with stars that seem close enough to touch. You've learned the rhythm of the caravan, the groaning of the camels, the crunch of sand beneath their feet, the low murmur of prayers whispered before dawn. It's strange how routine grows even in a place that seems to have none. You spend your days listening to the guides, to the merchants, to the whispers of the wind. The desert speaks in symbols, and slowly you begin to understand its language. You notice how the wind changes before a storm, how the color of the sand deepens with moisture, how silence carries its own kind of wisdom. One afternoon, while resting beside a dune, you pull out the stones, Urim and Thummim, and let them roll between your fingers. You haven't used them yet. You realize it's because you no longer need to. Something in you has shifted. You can feel when the universe is nudging you forward. That night, around the campfire, a group of travelers tell stories of omens and dreams. You listen quietly, feeling the fire's warmth against your skin. One man mentions a place called Al-Fayum, an oasis hidden deep in the desert, full of palm trees and water, where travelers rest before continuing their journey to the pyramids. You picture it in your mind, a place of shade and stillness, where even the stars pause to listen. The next morning, you wake early, the desert cool and pale. You help pack the camels and notice a young Englishman sitting near the fire, surrounded by books and strange bottles. He's absorbed in his reading, his brow furrowed in thought. Later, as the caravan moves, you fall into conversation. He tells you he's searching for the alchemist, a man who can turn lead into gold and unlock the secrets of the universe. His voice trembles slightly when he speaks, not from fear, but from longing. You recognize that tone. It's the sound of someone who believes deeply in something unseen. You share your story, the dream, the king, the treasure near the pyramids. He listens intently, nodding. "We're looking for the same thing, then?" he says softly, just in different forms. As the days go on, you find comfort in his company. You both talk about signs and destiny, though he believes in them through science, while you trust the heart. Still, you both look to the horizon, waiting for proof. When the caravan finally reaches Al Fayoum, the sight takes your breath away. After so many days of golden silence, the green feels unreal. Palm trees sway gently, and the sound of running water fills the air. You kneel by a stream, cupping water into your hands, watching sunlight dance on the surface. You can feel life returning to your body, like the desert was holding its breath until now. You spend your first night there listening to the rustle of the palms. The Englishman keeps talking about the alchemist, saying he must be somewhere here. You, however, find your attention drawn to the people, especially the women carrying water jars by the well. One of them moves differently from the rest, her steps graceful, her face calm, her eyes like deep pools of night. Fatima. You don't know her name yet, but your heart does. The first time you see her, everything inside you goes still. The wind seems to hush as if it too is waiting. You walk toward her, words slow and uncertain, and when she looks up, she smiles like she already knew you were coming. You talk only briefly small words about the caravan, the desert, the heat, but something invisible passes between you. When she leaves, you stand there long after she's gone, feeling the echo of her presence in the air. You can still see the way she adjusted her scarf, the way her fingers brushed the edge of the water jar. The next morning, you return to the well. She's there again and again the next day. Your conversations grow longer, filled with small laughter and quiet pauses. She listens more than she speaks, but when she does, her voice carries that soft certainty you've been searching for. You tell her about your dream, about your treasure, and about how the desert has begun to change you. She doesn't doubt. She only says, when you love, everything makes sense. You realize you love her before you even admit it to yourself. It isn't a dramatic revelation, just a quiet moment by the well, when you catch yourself smiling before she arrives. You feel the truth settle into you like warm sand. Still, love brings its own kind of fear. You wonder if staying would betray your dream. But when you tell Fatima, she smiles softly and says, "I'm part of your treasure. If you must go, go. The desert will bring you back to me." Her words are steady, but you can feel her heart trembling beneath them. You want to promise her the world, but the alchemist finds you first. He appears one evening near the edge of the oasis, cloaked in silence, eyes calm and deep as the horizon. He tells you he's been waiting. The Englishman introduces himself eagerly, but the alchemist barely glances his way. His gaze settles on you, as if he already knows the map of your soul. "You found love," he says simply. "Now you must find courage." He speaks in riddles, yet every word feels true. He says the treasure you seek lies where your heart belongs, and that love never keeps a man from his destiny. You listen, torn between joy and fear. The alchemist tells you he will guide you through the desert to the pyramids. That night you lie awake beside the oasis, the sound of water blending with the whisper of palm leaves. You think of Fatima, of her voice saying she'll wait. You wonder how someone can love so quietly and still make the world feel louder. When dawn arrives, the sky blushes gold. You rise, the decision already made. You'll go. You'll follow the alchemist and the omens and the pull of your heart. You'll trust that what is meant for you will always find you again. You find Fatima before you leave. She doesn't cry. She simply touches your hand and says, "Go to your treasure." The dessert will tell me when you return. Her fingers linger for just a moment longer than time allows. You hold her gaze, trying to memorize it, knowing that memory is the only thing you can carry across the dunes. As you walk away, the desert wind rises. You swear you can hear her name in it, Fatima soft as breath, strong as faith. The journey with the alchemist begins before sunrise. The desert still sleeps, its vastness hidden under a soft blue veil. You and the alchemist ride side by side, the camel's hooves pressing gentle marks into the sand. The silence feels sacred, filled with unspoken lessons. The alchemist doesn't speak much. When he does, it's usually after long stretches of quiet. His words come out like the winged brief, simple but carrying weight. Remember, he says one morning, his eyes scanning the horizon, where your heart is, there you'll find your treasure. You nod, unsure if he's speaking about Fatima, the pyramids, or something deeper. Maybe all three are the same thing. The days are hot and endless, but you grow used to the rhythm, the creak of leather, the soft grin of camels, the faint shimmer of air above the dunes. Sometimes you catch yourself talking aloud to the wind. You tell it stories about the girl by the well, about the sheep you once tended, about the crystal shop that taught you patience. You imagine the wind carries your words to her. You like to think she feels them, like a soft touch brushing her cheek from miles away. One night, you and the alchemist sit by a small fire. The flames flicker, throwing light across his calm face. He looks at you as if seeing straight through you. "Why are you afraid?" he asks. You hesitate. "Because I might lose everything. The treasure, her, myself." He nods slowly. "To find yourself, you must be willing to lose everything." The fire crackles. You stare into it, watching it dance. The truth of his words feels heavy, but somehow comforting. You realize that love isn't possession. It is trust that what is real want to vanish just because you move away from it. Later that night, you dream again of the pyramids. But this time, Fatima is there too, standing beside them, smiling quietly. You wake with tears on your cheeks and the taste of desert air in your mouth. The next morning, the alchemist points to a distant hawk circling above. "Watch closely," he says. You follow the bird's movement, noticing how it dives suddenly, slicing the air. In that motion, something clicks inside you, an omen, clear as light. You see it before it happens. War approaching, danger near. You rush to the leaders of the oasis, warning them. They listen, half in doubt, but prepare anyway. 2 days later, tribes attack from the horizon, and your warning saves countless lives. The people call you wise. The alchemist only smiles as if he expected nothing less. When you see Fatima again, she looks at you with quiet pride. You can tell she already knew the desert would speak through you. Her smile lingers in your mind long after you leave again. The following days test your spirit. The closer you move toward the pyramids, the harsher the wind grows. Sandstorms blur the sky, and the cold at night cuts deep. The alchemist teaches you to listen not with your ears, but with your heart. Everything in the universe has a soul, he says, and when you truly want something, you become part of that soul. You begin to feel it. The pulse of the desert under your feet, the warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of the stars, the way silence speaks louder than words. Sometimes when you close your eyes, you can almost sense Fatima's heartbeat somewhere in that same rhythm, like she's breathing with the world itself. One evening, the alchemist stops beside a dune and gestures to the horizon. "There," he says, "your treasure lies beyond." His voice is steady, but his eyes soften. "But before you reach it, you must learn the last lesson." He draws a circle in the sand. When you can listen to your heart so clearly that you become one with the wind, you will know the language of the world. The idea feels impossible, but you try. You close your eyes, breathing slowly, feeling the air on your skin. You whisper to the wind, to the sun, to the sand. At first, nothing happens. Then something stirs a trembling, gentle at first, then stronger. You open your eyes and the sand around you begins to move, swirling softly, lifting, spinning in a quiet storm. You feel it, the connection between everything, between the stars above, the desert below, and the love inside you. You are not just standing in the desert, you're a part of it. When the wind settles, you look at the alchemist. He smiles faintly. Now you know. That night he prepares to leave you. The fire between you burns low, the embers glowing softly. The journey ends where it began, he says. Your treasure is closer than you think. You feel a pang of fear. What if I fail? He shakes his head. No one fails when they follow their personal legend. Some just stop too soon. Before dawn, he rides away, leaving you alone with the desert. For a long moment, you just stand there, feeling the cool wind brush against your face. You think of Fatima's promise. You think of your sheep, your dreams, the laughter of the child who first appeared in your vision. Every step of the journey flashes before you like pieces of a mosaic, now forming one whole picture. You walk on. The desert hums softly beneath your feet. You feel lighter now, as though the world itself is carrying you forward. You know, without needing to see, that the pyramids are near. When they finally appear, rising like golden fire against the horizon, your heart stops. You fall to your knees, overwhelmed. You've made it. You touch the sand, tears mixing with sweat. You dig, your hands trembling, feeling for the treasure you've dreamed of so long. But all you find is more sand. The wind howls softly, almost like laughter. You don't understand. Then, as night falls and the stars return, you hear the whisper again, the same one from your first dream. The treasure is where your heart is. You sit back, breathing deeply. You realize you've already found it in love and faith in the journey itself. You smile into the wind, and for the first time, you feel whole. You still wonder, though, if Fatima can feel you smiling. You like to think she can. You lie beside the pyramids, exhausted, the sand still clinging to your clothes. The night is vast and cool, the stars shimmering with that same secret hum you've chased across deserts and dreams. You laugh softly to yourself, half in wonder, half in disbelief. The treasure isn't here. Or maybe, in a way, it always was. You remember every moment that led you to this place, the gypsy's wrinkled smile, the king's ancient wisdom, the crystal shop's quiet lessons, Fatima's gentle eyes, the alchemist's firelit words. Each one was a step, a sign, a whisper leading you not to gold, but to yourself. You feel something deep within your chest piece, not disappointment. It fills you like light spilling into a long-locked room. Then, from the darkness, a group of men appear. Their voices sharp, their faces half-hidden. You freeze as they surround you, demanding to know what you're doing there. You try to explain that you're searching for treasure, but they only laugh. They hit you, take what little you have, and leave you bleeding in the sand. But before they go, one of them stops. His voice softens slightly as he says, "Treasure? I once dreamed of treasure too buried under a tree in an abandoned church in Spain. But I was never foolish enough to chase it." He laughs again and walks away. And then it clicks. You lie there for a long time, the pain fading beneath the rush of realization. The church, the sycamore tree, the same place where your dream began. You whisper the truth aloud, and it feels like the desert itself is listening. The treasure was always waiting for you, right where you started. Days later, bruised but smiling, you return to the small, abandoned church. The sky over Andalusia glows soft in gold. You kneel beside the sycamore tree, your heart steady. You dig into the earth, your hands trembling. The soil gives way easily, and soon your fingers brush something solid. You pull out a small chest, worn by time and hidden by roots. Inside, under the dust, lies the treasure. Gold coins, jewels, ornaments that shimmer in the fading light. You laugh a deep, breathless laugh that turns into tears. Not because of the gold, but because of everything that came before it. The boy who left with nothing and returned with everything. You look up at the tree above you, its leaves rustling gently in the evening breeze. You whisper, "Thank you." You mean it for the world, for the wind, for Fatima, for the dream that refused to fade. You lie back on the cool ground, the treasure beside you. The smell of earth and leaves fills your lungs. You think of her, the girl by the well, and how her eyes looked like twilight on still water. You can almost hear her laugh, soft and distant, carried on the wind. You close your eyes and make a promise, one you intend to keep. Soon I'll return to you, Fatima. The desert will bring me back. The wind moves gently through the branches, and for a moment, you imagine it answers you. It carries the scent of palm trees and distant rain, the whisper of her name across the miles. Fatima. You rest there, your heart lighter than air, the world quiet around you. You trace small shapes in the sand, your thoughts slow and calm. You realize the treasure was never the gold, it was the journey. The lessons, the love that taught you how to listen to your heart. The stars appear one by one. You smile at them, your eyes half closed, the night wrapping around you like a familiar blanket. You think of how far you've come, how much you've learned, and how everything in the world seems connected now. The sheep grazing on hills, the merchant polishing glass, the alchemist stirring his fire, the girl waiting by the well. Everything is part of one great story, written in the same language of hope and faith and love. And for the first time, you feel fluent in it. You whisper softly, "I'm coming home," and the wind answers, carrying your promise far into the night. Then slowly, everything begins to fade, the stars, the desert, even the hum of your heartbeat, until there is only stillness and warmth, and the quiet certainty that love always leads you back to where you belong. Now the story slows, soft as a breath in the dark. You're still there beneath the sycamore tree, the treasure beside you, the weight of years lifting gently from your shoulders. The night hums with a peaceful silence, and the stars above you shimmer like small, steady lanterns, guiding every dreamer home. You can feel the cool air against your skin, the earth beneath your hands, steady and forgiving. Every sound seems softer now, the faint rustle of leaves, the whisper of your own calm breathing. It feels like the world itself is exhaling, and you are part of that quiet rhythm. The journey has ended, yet it doesn't feel like an ending. The story has folded itself neatly into your heart, becoming part of you, like a melody you can hum in your sleep. Somewhere far away, a girl waits by a well, smiling into the desert wind, knowing the universe always keeps its promises. You close your eyes, letting that thought settle deep inside you. The treasure, the love, the lessons, all resting in the same place now. Everything feels whole. Everything feels right. So breathe in slowly. Let it out even slower. The story has done its work. It has carried you through longing, through wonder, and now into peace. The kind of peace that stays even after the dream ends. The stars dim a little. The wind softens to a sigh. And as the last bit of the world fades around you, you can feel it, the quiet pulse of your own heart, steady and sure, whispering the only truth that matters. You have found your treasure.